Dracule Mihawk, the world's strongest swordsman. Since his introduction, Mihawk has been one of the most mysterious figures in One Piece. He sits at the very top of his art, unmatched by any swordsman alive. And yet, he lives in solitude, with no crew, no flag, no dream of a pirate king. But what if Mihawk is more than just a swordsman? What if his life, his eyes, his blade, and even his lonely existence are pieces of a hidden puzzle? A puzzle that connects the past of the world, the fate of Zoro, and the final saga itself. Today, we'll break down Mihawk's potential origins, his secret role, and the destiny that awaits him when the Age of Joy Boy reaches its climax. One Piece is a story about bonds. Luffy and his crew, Whitebeard and his sons, Roger and his companions. Even villains like Blackbeard define themselves through their family. But Mihawk is different. He has no bonds, no nakama, no cause. He lives alone on Kuraigana Island, accompanied only by a ruined castle and monkeys who imitate his swordsmanship. This isn't just character flavor, it's deliberate. Oda made Mihawk stand apart. While every other great man is tied down by connections, Mihawk has cut away everything, until only the sword remains. But no one in One Piece is truly bondless, not even Mihawk. So where does this emptiness come from? The most compelling theory is that Mihawk's origins trace back to God Valley. We know Shanks was found there as a baby. Roxy Zebek fell there. Celestial dragons, marines, pirates all clashed in a single night of chaos. And then, God Valley vanished, erased from the maps. Mihawk's age lines up suspiciously well. He could have been a child during the incident. Imagine this, a boy born in God Valley. A boy who lost everything in the massacre. Parents, family, home. Unlike Shanks, he wasn't picked up by Roger. Unlike Garp, he wasn't hailed as a hero. He survived, scarred by loss. That would explain his detachment, his refusal to form bonds, his cold perfection as a swordsman. Mihawk may not simply be a loner. He may be the last remnant of a forgotten tragedy. Mihawk's most striking feature is, of course, his eyes. Those golden, piercing hawk eyes. No other character in One Piece shares this trait. It isn't a family trait like Sanji's eyebrows or a random design choice. Oda deliberately gave Mihawk eyes that scream power. What do they mean? Theory. Advanced observation haki beyond limits. Most swordsmen cut what they can see. Mihawk may cut what he perceives beyond the physical world. His eyes could be a unique evolution of Kenbunshoku haki, allowing him to see an opponent's intent. Read their fear and hesitation. Detect the flow of battle before it begins. This would explain why Mihawk instantly recognized Luffy as dangerous during Marineford, even when Luffy looked like nothing but a reckless rookie. Mihawk's eyes may pierce into willpower itself. Some fans speculate Mihawk's eyes are genetic, that he comes from a clan or bloodline erased during the Void Century or the God Valley Purge. If true, Mihawk could be the last of his kind, carrying their legacy in silence. The world government once feared their duels. The battles between Mihawk and red-haired Shanks shook the Grand Line. But after Shanks lost his arm, Mihawk refused to duel him again. On the surface, this looks like arrogance. Why fight a cripple? But it might be deeper. Mihawk may have recognized that Shanks chose a different path. Shanks' strength no longer comes from perfection, but from sacrifice, from giving up his arm to save a boy who would change the world. Mihawk's rejection wasn't disdain, it was acknowledgement. He saw that Shanks had moved beyond the sword, and that their rivalry no longer had meaning. This positions Mihawk and Shanks as two opposites. Shanks, a man who draws strength from his bonds. Mihawk, a man who abandoned all bonds for the blade. Two swordsmen, two philosophies, and only one path will remain in the end. During the time skip, Mihawk became Zoro's master. Why? Why would the greatest swordsman alive train the very man destined to surpass him? Because Mihawk saw in Zoro something he had never seen before. a will stronger than steel, a man who would gladly throw away his life for his captain, a swordsman whose dream was not just his own, but tied to the dream of another. For Mihawk, Zoro represents everything he gave up long ago. Loyalty, brotherhood, bonds. Training Zoro wasn't an act of boredom. It was destiny. Mihawk knows that the future needs a new greatest swordsman, and Zoro is the one who will carry that title into the new era. Mihawk wields Yoru, one of the 12 supreme grade blades, a black blade, a symbol of a swordsman who has conquered all battles. But here's the thing, Yoru is not just a weapon, it's a symbol. Black blades are created when a swordsman's haki permanently fuses with their sword. That means Mihawk's soul itself lives inside Yoru. When Mihawk falls, Zoro may inherit Yoru, but it won't just be a weapon. It will be the final test. To wield Mihawk's blade is to carry his will. Imagine Zoro one day holding Yoru and Wado Ichimonji, one blade representing loyalty to his captain, the other representing the legacy of the strongest swordsman who ever lived. So how does Mihawk's story end? Scenario 1. The Duel of Destiny. Zoro and Mihawk fight in a climactic duel. When Zoro finally surpasses him, Mihawk smiles, not out of defeat, but out of pride. He acknowledges Zoro as the true king of hell, and passes down Yoru. Scenario 2. A Fallen Hawk. Mihawk dies not by Zoro's blade, but by the cruelty of the final war. Perhaps slain by an admiral, a holy knight, or even Imu's forces. This would give Zoro both rage and purpose, to honor Mihawk's legacy by becoming the greatest swordsman in his place. Scenario 3. The Eternal Rival. Mihawk survives, but steps aside willingly, not killed, not defeated, simply acknowledging that the era belongs to Zoro now. He becomes a ghostly figure, a reminder of the old age. No matter what, Mihawk's role is clear. He is the wall Zoro must climb, the final gatekeeper to prove that loyalty and bonds are stronger than cold perfection. At his core, Mihawk is not just a man. He is a symbol. He represents what happens when you dedicate yourself to absolute mastery, at the cost of everything else. He is the peak of loneliness, the perfection of isolation. But Zoro represents the counterpoint, a swordsman who will surpass Mihawk without giving up his bonds, a man who proves that true strength is not found in solitude, but in fighting for others. When Zoro surpasses Mihawk, it won't just be a victory of skill, it will be the victory of Oda's central theme, that bonds and dreams are stronger than perfection and isolation. Dracule Mihawk is more than the strongest swordsman. He is a remnant of God Valley, a man with eyes that pierce souls, a lonely shadow of perfection, and the final test for Roronoa Zoro. When Mihawk falls, whether by Zoro's blade or by the chaos of the final war, the world will finally know that the Hawk's era has ended and the King of Hell has risen.